Welcome into New Orleans Saints Now. I'm your host, Trey Stroud. We have a lot to get to around Derek Carr, but before we get to that, I want to ask everyone, did you enjoy Super Bowl 57? Chiefs taking down the Eagles. Rihanna crushed it at the halftime performance. We had a good time here at the Chat Sports offices live for a couple watch parties, but I want you guys to let me know, did you like or dislike Super Bowl 57? Welcome into New Orleans Saints Now. Like I said, my name is Trey Stroud, and we have a lot to get to around Derek Carr. And the first things first is Derek Carr is not getting traded. He will not be traded to the New Orleans Saints, nor any other team in the NFL, because he will not be waiving his no-trade clause, meaning he is set to become a free agent. The Saints and Raiders, it did actually have framework in place for a trade to go down. However, with Derek Carr's contract and how it stands, it's very difficult to pull off. And honestly, it's one of those situations where when 2023, you're owed $33 million. 2024, you're owed $42 million. 2025, you're owed $41.3 million. He's a free agent in 2026. Either way, you sign him in free agency, you trade for him, you're probably locking him into 3 years. And I kind of have an interesting theory on this. It kind of feels like Derek Carr is more so doing this to stick it to the Raiders. Like, I don't want to sit here and say and say that that's what is happening, and I don't want to say that he is definitely doing this, but I don't know. Like, the deal could have gone down. It does give him the opportunity to go test the open market, see exactly what people are willing to pay and what teams are willing to pay. It is also interesting to note when he's cut, he can be signed immediately. He doesn't have to wait. He doesn't have to, try and get past any deadlines. He's cut. He's ready to go. And if he's cut, he needs to be cut by 4 p.m. on Wednesday, February 15th. Today, as we're filming this, Monday, about 3:45 on February 13th. So he could be cut very soon. It could happen very soon. But it kind of feels like he went I'm going to go free agency market, or I'm going to go free agency route over trade because he kind of wanted to stick it to the Raiders. Again, don't want to claim that because I think DC is still a great guy, and I don't want to bring any of that bad energy to him. But it's pretty funny, and if that's how it happens, that's how it plays out. He comes to the Saints. Hey, appreciate you. We got to keep draft picks, so you got to love that. But let me know, Who Dat Nation, do you think that Derek Carr will get signed by the New Orleans Saints? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Let me know in the comment section. You might get hit with a YouTube ad break, so if you do, take advantage of it. Let me know in the comment section. All right. The timetable, as I said earlier, the Raiders are expected to release Derek Carr on or by February 15th. This could come in sooner. It could come in later. It could come in, honestly, it could come in as we're filming this video. We have no idea. But he ain't going back to the Raiders, and we all know that. And here are just a few teams that might also reach out to Derek Carr to go and see what's up in terms of what a price would be and how those teams could get Carr into their facilities, I think the New Orleans Saints are the most likely option. I think that they're the front runners, and I'll get into my thoughts on that in just a second. The Jets, that's another team that I think is kind of interesting because Aaron Rodgers going on that darkness retreat, trying to find the shadow man or whatever it is. That being said, he's postponing it. He's going on the Pat McAfee show tomorrow, and we have an update from the Pat McAfee show from Ian Rapoport about Derek Carr here coming in a minute, so stick around for that. Washington, also a team, they need a quarterback. They need some help. I don't think that you can realistically look at Taylor Heinicke and say, that's the guy I want to be the leader of my franchise. Carolina Panthers, they're terrible. Tennessee Titans, don't know if they're sold on Ryan Tannehill. Malik Willis didn't quite shake out the way they wanted it to this year, so might need to give him some more time to develop. Interesting teams, interesting things to keep an eye out. We're going to monitor it, so be sure to subscribe like the graphic below me says. But my take on all of this, I still believe the Saints are the front runner. I believe that the Saints have every reason to wind up with Derek Carr because the Saints have done the most work in terms of bringing in Derek Carr. He didn't interview with another team to meet about a trade. He, in fact, canceled a meeting with the Panthers because his wife wanted to go to New Orleans, and he wanted it was a one-day meeting that lasted 8.5 hours, about 8.5 hours, and then turned into a 2-day meeting, brought down the wife, happy wife, happy life. New Orleans has good food, good culture, good people. I mean, come on. Men, we all know the wife makes decisions. If she's happy and she's coming down and looking at it, she's probably going to be excited to move down to New Orleans. But honestly, this is where it gets extremely juicy. Ian Rapoport today, just minutes ago on the Pat McAfee show. The Saints are still interested in Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is still interested in the Saints. Now, when he's a free agent, he can potentially just negotiate his own new contract with the Saints and not have to worry about his old contract. And like I said, this update came in minutes ago as we were getting the script together, and we're monitoring the Derek Carr situation every single minute of every single day. I'm barely sleeping because I'm up on Twitter watching Derek Carr trackers, watching all the Derek Carr rumors. So if you want to stay notified, you want to stay in the know, and you want to stay in the loop of all things Derek Carr and all things Saints this offseason, subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you never miss a thing. Lock us in. We're the place to be. All right. Like I said a minute ago, don't forget, Derek Carr and his wife met with the Saints for 2 days, and they canceled a visit with the Panthers. And it's no mystery that Derek Carr, he wants continuity. He wants familiarity with the staff. He wants a strong unit that he can rely on. The Saints defense is a top 10, top 15 defense every single year, without question. Even in bad years, they're still in the top half of defenses across the NFL. And with that, the Raiders have never had like a top 10 defense. They've always had all right to mediocre defenses with Derek Carr. This gives the Carr the ability to not have to rely on himself to win games. He can take some of that pressure off and have Derek Carr or have his defense help him out. And with the familiarity thing, Dennis Allen drafted Carr back in 2014 when he was the head coach of the Raiders, gave him his first start in 2014. And this is what Derek Carr actually had to say on Dennis Allen recently. He said, DA and I have a great relationship still to this day, and I still talk to him and things like that. Obviously not this week with all these things, but we've kept in contact. We've always been close. I love him. I loved having him and talking about his time in Oakland at the time, but now Vegas with the Raiders. It's just interesting. It's kind of one of those situations where all roads are starting to point to Derek Carr. And I understand there are other quarterback options, but they're not that great. And we're going to break that down here in just a second. And there's other teams that could go and get Derek Carr, like we broke down a little bit ago. I just think that everything is just kind of in life. You have situations where everything just falls in place, and this is one of those things where it seems like everything's falling in place, and I think it could happen. I really think that Derek Carr could be a Saint. But let me know, who do you think will sign Derek Carr in the comment section? Let me know. I think that it's the Saints. If you think it's another team, feel free to tell me in the comment section who you think it is and why you believe so. But real quick, rapid fire, just want to kind of get into some of the other free agent quarterback targets, and you'll notice a common theme as the list progresses. First name on the list, Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going to be a free agent. The Niners are not going to re-sign him. He had an injury this year. He missed about half the season. Still, in the time he played, 67.2%, 2,437 yards, 16 touchdowns in the air, 4 interceptions. Jimmy G, he's a name that a lot of people like to throw out in terms of the top free agent quarterback option. With Derek Carr hitting the market, Lamar Jackson, he's also a name to be watched out for. But I just think that Jimmy G probably not coming to the Saints. Baker Mayfield. No. He wasn't good enough to – well, not good enough. The Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. He goes to it takes forever for him to get signed. He goes to the Panthers. He's not good enough on the Panthers. They cut him, and he goes to the Rams. And the Rams still aren't a good team. My point being, why would you want to bring Baker to the Big Easy? He's not that great. He was good at one point in time. Sure, he's a fun player to watch. He has a great attitude. He's a football guy through and through. He's just not it. And I don't know if he would be it with the Saints. Culture fit, sure, he could have a lot of fun. I just don't know if it's a good fit in terms of success and winning. A name that I could be interested in is Jacoby Brissett. I think that his story this year was pretty interesting, starting for the Browns before Deshaun Watson took over for at the second half of the season before they played the Saints. I think that Jacoby Brissett is a name to keep an eye out on, because if this falls through with Derek Carr, Brissett is a guy who showed he could be a bridge quarterback by definition. I mean, he could take over and help manage the offense, help run the team. And if you draft a young quarterback, if you have or this season, or this offseason, or you bring in a young quarterback next offseason, you can have Jacoby Brissett be the guy, either mentor the quarterback that you draft this year, or just bridge the year over to go and get somebody else next year. Jacoby Brissett did some good things: 12 interceptions, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 64 completion percentage. A name to keep an eye on. I definitely will keep an eye. That's one that I'm going to like. A reunion. This is the obvious answer, and I think that if anything falls through, this is the route that the Saints will inevitably go because there's the familiarity, there's the fact that you don't have to bring in a new system, you don't have to learn a new system. He was in it last year. Andy Dalton is the guy that I think that the Saints will end up with if they don't bring in Derek Carr. I mean, we all saw what he did this year. He's good. That's all you can really say. He is what he is. He's not great. He's not bad. He's extremely average. He's good enough. It's just there's not any excitement, and I don't want to run it back with Andy Dalton. Thank you for what you did this year. Some good moments for sure, but I think that I would rather bring in some new blood, somebody who's a little bit more exciting, has a little bit more of a game. You can have more of a game plan around. Teddy Bridgewater. This is the last one that I think is a free agent target. And if you couldn't tell, just look at this list of 5 names. If you couldn't tell what the common theme is here, is it's just mid. This group of quarterbacks is mid across the board. And for those of you who are going to sit here in the comment section and say, Jimmy G is not mid, he's great, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, he's hurt and he can't stay healthy for an entire season. The best ability is availability, and I don't want to bring that into my locker room. Jacoby Brissett, he's fine or whatever, but Teddy Bridgewater, could you get a reunion from whenever he spent some time in New Orleans? 62% completion percentage. Only had limited games with the Dolphins because Tua was in and out of being healthy. They had Skylar Thompson. I mean, it was just kind of a mess for the Dolphins all around. 683 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Don't know if Teddy – I mean, the story would be cool. Teddy – we all love Teddy. We really do. But it just – the point being, Derek Carr is probably your best option outside of Lamar Jackson. And I don't know if that can actually go down with the Saints. They don't have much to trade away. So let me know, who do you want to be the Saints quarterback in 2023? Not who do you think, but who do you want? Do you want it to be Jameis Winston? Do you want it to be Taysom Hill? Do you want it to be CJ Stroud? Do you want it to be anybody in the draft? Let me know in the comment section. I want you guys to go down, share your thoughts. And also, one more time, I want to give a quick reminder to subscribe. We're on a race to 15,000 subscribers. Producer Seatman, he's been crushing it over at Vikings Now, but we want to beat him over there. We want to get to 15,000 before he does. We have a fun little competition cooked up. Details pending. We'll get them out to you very soon. But we have a good start. Subscribe. Help us get to 15,000 subscribers. Who Dat Nation, it's always a pleasure. Y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time.